Don and I got married here in Charlotte. I had lived in Charlotte for about a year and a half when we got married. And I stayed at your house and you stayed at the neighbors to have that, being apart before we got married. And my almost sister-in-law, at the time, my brother's fiance, they're not together anymore, but she came and stayed with me to help me get ready. We were getting married at 10 in the morning because we had changed priests at the last minute and he was fitting us in. He had two other weddings, I believe, that same day. So I'm not a morning person. So getting married downtown Charlotte, it's a good 30 minutes from where I live, where you live too. And I get up to get ready in the morning and I go to take a shower and the faucet breaks, that whatever you call the part that brings it up to the shower head.
Well, the spout flew off, didn't it?
I don't know, something disconnected, so that I couldn't take a shower. I had to take a bath of sorts and clean myself that way. And I remember, I know it frustrated me, yet I know because I was excited about the day that I wasn't going to let it interfere with things. And I remember laughing about it and was happy that Julia was there with me. And somehow we managed to get ready. I believe my parents picked us up. We're driving in their car. Julia is painting my nails. My wedding gown is in a bag on my lap as we're driving to the church. This is having to be somewhere. I guess we were trying to get there probably at 9:30 in the morning. The wedding was at 10. Mm-hmm. And we're going down Independence Boulevard in Charlotte. And there's a 277 loop if you're from Charlotte or you've been here. And we find ourselves looping back, heading back towards the house. And I remember saying to my parents, I know how to get where I need to in Charlotte. And my mom said, you need to get to your wedding.
Well, and these were the days before like Waze or,
This was 1994.
Yeah, you didn't have the...
there were no smartphones.
So, no guiding programs either,
Well, none of that. Or if there was, I didn't have it. And so just all these challenges of going somewhere, we chose to get married here in Charlotte because we lived here. I remember someone in my family saying, who does that? Who doesn't get married in their hometown where they're from? It's like, well, we lived in Charlotte. My family, a lot of my family was still in Pennsylvania, my friends. Your family's out in St. Louis. And, we are here. So we got married where we are. And we picked this church in uptown Charlotte, St. Peter's Catholic Church.
Weren't you also... Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it was a nice small church and we were having a small wedding and we didn't want to get lost in a big giant church.
Weren't you also doing your nails on...
I just said that.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
That Julia was painting my fingernails. My wedding dress was in a plastic bag on my lap, and my hands were up here, and we're getting lost.
You didn't stress.
But I was excited about the day, and we managed to get there in plenty of time because then I got dressed when we were at the church in the little, whatever you call those rooms that they have for that purpose. And I don't remember the wedding getting started late. No. We got married at 10 a.m. on Saturday, May the 14th of 1994.
Because Father Kuhn was on a deadline.
Yes, after the wedding ceremony, we were getting pictures in the church and he popped in for one quick picture.
He literally bent it. The picture has him bent into the scene like
because
this.
Because he had to head out.
He was heading out.
To go to,
and we said, well, let's one picture. Come on. Real quick, he comes running up. Okay, and I gotta go.
We have a picture with the two of us and him in it because he was off to another location, another church for another wedding. I don't know what time.
I think it was at 11. That's why I had to.
Okay, that's interesting.
But anyway,
piece you're pulling out of your memory. But
so anyway.
Scattered and working under pressure, and
well, you do that really well. I have to compliment you on that. You under pressure, you handle it better, I think, than even I would. I get very stressed. You tend to not get as stressed with situations.
Funny as I'm telling that story, I know I've handled our health crisis well in the pressure. And I thought that was a skill I've developed, and I didn't see it as something that was innately in me. Yet as I'm sitting here telling the story of our wedding day, I'm like,
kind of proves it out.
Yeah, I guess I've always been pretty good at that
Better than I.
in the situation.
I would probably be panicked at that point and getting a little stressed and angry.
I mean, I know there's times in my life where I'm like, damn, this gone wrong. Everything's going wrong. What else is going to go wrong? But I guess maybe because the spirit of the day.
Was your dad getting upset? Was he? Do you remember?
No.
Because remember he used to.
No,
he had
in the car. No, he wasn't.
That's good.
No, I just remember. I don't know. I remember just saying, I know how to get in Charlotte where I need to get. And my mom saying, you need to get to your wedding. And just the roads in Charlotte are so confusing. And I mean, I just had so many stories when I first moved here. I moved here in November of 1993
or two. Yeah. 92.
And we got married in May of 94. I'd lived here a year and a half.
Yeah.
And in Charlotte, that is not very much time to find your way around.
No.
Especially around downtown areas. So
hello, this is Don.
And this is Gina.
With Focused Healthy Family.
The key of the word there is focused. Not always so focused.
This is podcast number 84. And we're doing with weddings, vacation, and connections. But before we get too far into this, let's take a word from our sponsor.
Our sponsor is Q Sciences. I've been a representative for Q Sciences for over a year. I found this company through a friend and did some research and reading about these products. And I really like what I found when I learned about them. The research and time that they've put into the quality of these products to be better absorbed into the body. Things like the vitamin D spray. Our youngest was on a capsule vitamin D, and yet vitamin D levels remained the same with follow-up checkups. And with the spray, it increased.
Pretty strong.
Almost double.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking her levels were maybe 20, and I want to say they went up to 47 or something around that range. And the sleep spray is another great one. It's got melatonin, 5-HTP, and I believe another herbal supplement in there. And because it's a spray, you spray it on your tongue, it gets absorbed more quickly into your body to be more effective to help you in the moment. We're using the B12 spray. We've used the vitamin C spray. They have a Q Max product, which is a multivitamin.
And they also have the CBD, different, a variety of different.
It's full spectrum hemp oils. They even have a THC free version. It comes in different flavors. There is a mushroom.
Oh yeah.
Armor. It's called Q Armor. It's a powder, and I get the chai flavor. Put it in my chai tea for a double chai drink.
So instead of as they say, flushing your supplements down, the toilet or the drain, you want to get something like this that's fully absorbed. It's like flushing money down the toilet too, if you're not using a supplement that absorbs well and does well for your body. So that's what Q Science is really about. It's a good, well absorbed, high nutrient product.
They have multiple products. They have child specific products. They now also have some facial cream products. I've been using a night cream to minimize the effects of sunlight and stress and aging on my skin. And they have a hemp lotion. That's also a wonderful product that we've tried. So check us out, learn more. You can find the link at our website,
www.focusedhealthyfamily.com. You can also go to focusedhealthyfamily.com/Q Sciences, the letter Q and Sciences.
With an S at the end.
With the S at the end, yes.
So we were coming up with our topic for today. As you know, we've been moving and we've gotten a little behind. We used to have several podcasts ahead of time coming up with a topic. So when this podcast airs,
we'll be at a wedding.
We'll be at a wedding at the beach.
You will be listening to it probably while the ceremony's going on, actually, because it comes out at 8 o'clock in the morning.
The ceremony's in the afternoon. Thank goodness.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was
10
in the morning.
a.m. No,
okay.
It's in the afternoon.
Good, you'll maybe warm.
Yes, we're going to be on a North Carolina beach in November, and it'll be much warmer.
Well, the weather's been kind of like all over.
It got really cold where we thought we were going to be. I had bought this dress that was sleeveless. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to bundle up.
But it's freezing, and it's like, well, we were down to 30, and was it 32
it got below freezing, which is a little unusual.
By the afternoon, it was up into the 70s. That was bizarre. Anyway,
that's kind of typical for North Carolina. It's just a little more extreme. We don't typically get a frost.
Well, not dramatic though.
It was before November too. It was in October.
Freezing to 70 is. I'll turn my phone off so I don't get interrupted. So
at a wedding, and this wedding is our daughter's, one of her first friends. When we met this family in our homeschool group, I'm pretty sure Abby was 3 and Victoria was 4. And they are now 21 and 22. And Victoria's getting married. This is Abby's first friend to get married. Our older son, who's 25, will be turning 26 at the beach. So we get to celebrate his birthday. It's the day after the wedding. And thinking about these families that we've known a long time and the connection we've had as our kids have gotten older, and we're not, we're still our homeschool family, but even if your kids are in other activities, you see the parents because you're going to those activities with them. For us, we were meeting up weekly and doing things like scouts and other activities we're involved in. And then as our kids got older, we didn't spend as much time together. And we see each other on Facebook. And I was just laughing about, we used to live barely 30 minutes from this family. We're not that much further where we've moved to, but we're driving over 3 hours to get to spend a day with them at their daughter's wedding, because they're having a destination wedding at the beach. And we've taken the opportunity, one of our timeshare resorts is about 40 minutes from where the wedding's at. It's in North Myrtle and the wedding's in Ocean Isle. And so we can stay there without added cost. So we're doing a 3-night stay so that we can have a little bit of a family mini vacation. I always prefer at least 3 nights. When you go and stay somewhere for 2 nights, I feel like all you do is unpack and pack back up again. And having that extra night just, to me, makes it that much more relaxing. And so we've got 2 rooms. So our son and his fiance will be there, and our daughter's driving straight there from Raleigh. And so we will be getting together to connect, to attend this wedding, and having some time as a family, as we have this mini vacation, which is, the cat just jumped in my lap, and I'm wearing shorts. And in the middle of, we just moved here less than a month ago. And I knew the way this was planned that it would be well-timed, would need a chance to get away.
Yeah. And
I'm having this experience of, to be off for 3 or 4 days. I could get so many things done in the house and get things put away. And yet it is going to be so nice to go away and not be staring at all the things that need to be unpacked.
The boxes.
And the contemplation of where is my hairbrush? And to just be away and to be able to tune in and connect with each other. Things have been very scattered with moving and our longer commutes, and still trying to maintain all the things that we need to do.
Well, it also, to me, it's also where we have an opportunity here, watching our kids kind of grow up, and really seeing the perspective of that. Like you said today, that our daughter asked you about, or our son asked, we're supposed to get a wedding gift. He's getting into adulting, as you put it. And
because before, if we went to a family wedding, we bought the gift.
Yeah,
they were kids, and it's like,
it's interesting to. It's really changed our whole perspective, being a different place, of course. But, now the kids having grown kids and watching them, like our oldest looking at possibly buying a house himself, and what he's going through with that. And then now we're going to go down and see people and see their grown kids and how different they have changed. We were looking at a picture of the bride a couple days ago, and she had lost weight, and she just looked so mature, and so it was just.
Yeah, because we remember when we met them, yes, she was 4 years old and her brother was about 6, and seeing how they've changed, and yet their personality still shines through.
Yeah.
Philip well from being in Boy Scouts. And so we know this family well. And to me, I grew up moving around. We moved when I was 2, when I was 9, when I was 12, almost 13. And so I never had those friends that I had gone to school with for all those years and that experience. Whereas you had that experience. You lived in one place until you moved out on your own.
Yeah. So it's just eye-opening kind of a perspective. I don't know.
And having that experience as a parent, watching your kids have friends. A lot of these families, we met up through homeschooling and getting together. We say to Lexi, they knew you before you were born, because I started attending when Abby was 2, I think, and Harrison would have been 6. And so Lexi wasn't born until 5 years later.
Yeah.
And even though I don't get to talk to them much or see them that much, there's a deep connection there with them. And it's going to be.
We grew up with them.
And nice to, as parents.
As parents,
we did. We learned to become parents and how to navigate the world of homeschooling and just raising children in general and juggling different things.
And now seeing our kids maybe getting to that place of,
starting their own life. Yeah, Victoria's getting married, and her mom was the Girl Scout leader, and you were in. Her dad was in Boy Scouts
with my
you oldest, and our son, and
Philip the tackler. It just to think back about it, and now to see him, I haven't seen him in quite a long time. See the difference, if there's going to be a difference. I mean, he used to be one that he was just I always call him like a big cuddly teddy bear, but also big, kind of, and he used to his greeting to Harrison was usually tackling him.
Harrison was always. He's thin and small, and Philip's a big guy, and he would pick Harrison up. And he still, I think, does that. They went to the beach, and he's holding Harrison up in the air. So it's just kind of a fun thing. And it's just seeing them. Like, I remember when they all started growing beards and stuff. And these used to be little kids, and now they're men, and they have beards, and their faces mature and look different as you get older. And
and I also turned 65 this year, which is kind of I guess I would consider that a milestone age of some sort.
It certainly is in the United States because of Medicare.
Yeah, well, yeah, which has not really been bad, but I was driving along the other day coming back from work, and it hits me every once in a while. I was like, wow, I'm a parent. I almost feel like, am I old enough to be a parent? Am I, I don't always feel.
And I remember saying that years ago when we first had kids, and you were in your late 30s or 40s. But it's funny to hear you say it at 65. Well, it's like most people your age are grandparents.
Well, I know. Yeah, I've got a friend that's actually a great grand. Has great
wow.
Has a great grand. He had kids kind of really, really young. So
that feeling of it was just yesterday. I said something to a coworker about my son is turning 26, and wasn't I just 26 yesterday? And the whole perspective of time as we get older, how that shifts. And it's really the basic math of, when you're 5, half your lifetime ago you were 2. When you're 50, half your lifetime it was 25 years. So there's
the math.
It makes a lot of sense in my head.
I mean, it's probably true. I thought saying it is, but it's kind of a weird concept.
Your concept of time and how much time has passed changes. And so when we show our kids movies that are current because they're from 2000, and they look at us and go, Mom, that's been 20 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, that's not that long ago.
Yeah. Well, and not to bring this down, but it also, I tend to have a little bit more of future thought, and mortality kind of starts, and I see this in my clients and patients that I work with, that when you get a certain age, like a lot of times in their 60s or 70s, and you start thinking about, wow, we're on more the downslide or the downside of the hill than the upside of the hill, and it's a little weird kind of think of it. I don't try not to focus on it, but I mean, seeing our kids grow up and marry and go off on their own, it kind of plays into that somewhat, I think.
Yeah, that's probably a big topic for a whole nother
yeah.
conversation. Where I work in geriatric rehab, if I get someone who's 70, they're young. And I think I used to gauge people like that were older than my parents as those were older people. But if they were younger than my parents, because the average, I mean, I don't know, I'd have to calculate the average age, but I would guess it's probably at least 85. People are living longer. I get people in their 90s, age of the patients that I work with in geriatric rehab. I mean, yes, we do get younger people sometimes, someone in a car accident, someone younger who's had their knee replaced or whatever, some people with multiple medical issues in their 60s, which now feels extremely young because I'm 54 and you're 65. Yet it also gives me perspective. People are living longer, and people do live easily into their 80s and 90s quite often. And so I have a continual reminder that I'm really young, and they tell me I'm young all the time. And I talk to 90-year-olds and I tell them about some 75-year-old who's complaining about their age, and the 90-year-old's like, they're just a kid. It's kind of that perspective of longevity. And I know that helps me really appreciate my youth. But now that you're in the Medicare bracket, it's like really hitting me like, oh, wow. Yeah, people his age are retiring and we're still growing a business.
Yeah, I know.
And it does kind of make a shift, because I'm getting more and more people who are closer to my age that I'm working with and your age. And
well, I get a kick out of the ones that come in that are my age. They look like they're like more like they're 75 or 80. I don't feel a day over 64.
I got that song going last year when you turned 64, I made you a playlist of songs, and I included it's a Beatles song, or is it a Paul McCartney? When I'm 64, will you still need me? Will you still feed me? When I'm 64. Is it Beatles or is it Paul McCartney?
No, it's Beatles.
A great song.
Maybe I'll add it in here a little bit.
So we're talking a little bit all over the place, but looking at it all together, being able to connect with our kids. 2 of them don't live at home. 1 of them lives a couple hours away. Her life is going to be changing. She's actually going to be moving back home. Some ways I feel we communicate more with our 2 kids who don't live at home. There's different things that we're communicating about now. Our son watched us go through the process of buying and selling a house, and he's diving into this world and wanting to buy a house. And even though his income is technically larger than ours, he can't get qualified for as high a mortgage as we did. And the only thing I'm figuring is he doesn't have the equity of having a home.
On that time, the credit years of credit time that we
seeing, like you talked about, you bought a house before we met. It was in the 80s.
Very different, yeah.
And how, as a first-time home buyer, you were getting all kinds of incentives.
Oh, they bent over backwards to make sure it worked. Yeah, I only had to put that $3,000 down, which now.
Well, what did you pay for that house in 1986, 7? When did you buy that house?
It was $60,000.
In 1980.
Wait, let me think. I think it was around that. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like what your income was at the time versus the cost of a house.
Well, when I moved here, I was making $25,000.
Okay.
A year, which was good. It was a good, but I remember back then they talked about following your age to I was 25 and I was making 25,000. I kind of followed my bracket. And I think about 30, I lost it. It went the other way, but yeah. So I was making 25,000, which was a good salary at the time because.
And you bought a 1,200 square foot nice ranch home with a half-acre lot for $60,000, and And I mean, there's no secret. We paid $300,000 for this house. That's 1,700 square feet on a tiny little lot, which we're very happy about. People say, "Oh, you moved out to Rowan County. Do you have land?" No, we left our land.
We almost did. A couple of them we looked at had acres. And I'm like, oh, no. Anyway, we're drifting way off pattern here.
But thinking about kids today and their difficulty because of the cost of living.
Did you hear yourself? Kids these days.
Well, and I mean it in a, I
know.
I feel for kids currently. It's expensive to live. It's expensive to rent an apartment.
Yeah.
It's expensive and difficult to buy a house, which I'm learning. I thought my son would have no problem with his income to be able to afford what he wanted. And yet things are different. And we're supporting them, even though we're emotionally and being there. We're still their parents, and we love the connection that we have with them, and having this chance to get together for this family wedding and to have some vacation time together and to be in my most happy place at the beach. And to really, being away from all the stuff we need to do is going to allow us to just engage in a game. Our game nights have turned to, what's Harrison going to unpack? Oh no, you better make sure he's putting away something you want to be put away, because he likes to get things done. So we'll have that chance to just be together, celebrate at this wedding with friends we've known for a long time, and watch this young couple as they start their new life.
Yeah.
As we approach our 30-year anniversary in a couple months, Don.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
So what's your perspective on looking at your family and the changes going on? How is it changing your perspective?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's lots to unpack
as you mature and age,
to think about there, and remembering how important connection is, and what things do you do, whether they're big like going to a wedding or a vacation, or small like having a family dinner and saying, it doesn't matter what we're going to do, we're going to play a game for an hour, or we're going to take some time to spend together, we're going to go take a walk together, and to be in the moment with each other and not on our phones, not distracted with all the things we have to get done, just making that connection.
Well, yeah, and it brings up an interesting thought yesterday. Now, over the weekend, I took a walk with our youngest, Lexi, and yesterday I suggested a walk to her, and she asked me if I could go with her, and I really had a lot to do. So it was this kind of in my mind, I was like, oh, this is that opportunity I should take. But then I thought about, I've taken a lot of those, so I don't have to do it every time. But think about, for yourself, think about when you got those opportunities, do you take them enough, at least, to make that connection?
And I'm curious, did she take a walk by herself?
Mm-hmm, she did.
And so you did it that time. And it was an opportunity for her to take a walk and explore our new neighborhood.
Yeah.
So connections, vacations, and weddings. Hope you have this wonderful Thursday as you listen to it, or whatever day you're listening to it. And stay tuned for more Focused Healthy Family. Join us for our podcast on Thursday, our Tuesday tips. That is a short podcast with kind of a specific tip. You can also receive that by email, our website. You can see our blogs, information, the workshops we have coming up. We're doing family parent communication workshops again come January, and all the other things that are going on and happening. And check me out on Instagram, Gina.FocusedHealthyFamily.
And remember, how you talk to your kids today shapes their future and yours.